Coucou, aujourd'hui nous regarderons quelques verbes et des pronoms démonstratifs en français. Here we have the verb plaire à, to be pleasing to someone or something else. We have an example question that uses this verb with its literal translation, is your new apartment pleasing to you? And the figurative, does your new apartment please you? Or do you like your new apartment? We have another example. My friends are not always pleasing to my parents. The second example, we've rewritten the first sentence and we have my parents now as the indirect object pronoun. And again, the literal and figurative translations. For this verb, it's most important to recognize the conjugations for the il singular and il plural forms because you're going to have one object or person or many objects or people who are pleasing to us or to me or to you. And the person who is being pleased, we just use an indirect object pronoun. Next, we have the verb vivre, which is to live. We have the present tense conjugations. We also have the past participle vécu, and that's for the passé composé. And so, of course, you need your helping verb avoir, j'ai vécu, in order to conjugate it correctly. Here we have the verb venir. Again, the present tense conjugations. The past participle, which is venu. Now, venir is one of the Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp verbs. So you say, je suis venu, nous sommes venus. The other verbs that act like venir, devenir, revenir, those two are also Dr. and Mrs. Vandertramp verbs. And se souvenir will take être as its helping verb in the passé composé because it's reflexive. Tenir, obtenir, and soutenir would actually take avoir in the passé composé. So we have two examples in the passé composé. The first one with venir, and we see that it's using être, and the second one with soutenir, which is to support, and that one takes avoir as its helping verb. Next, we're going to look at les pronoms démonstratifs. So in order to look at demonstrative pronouns, we have to look at demonstrative adjectives first, and those are the words se, set, and say. And these four words mean this or that, these or those. And we have to use se, set, and say in order to modify nouns. So you have to have a noun immediately following these four. Cet enfant, so this child or that child. Cette famille, this family or that family. Ces femmes, these women or those women. Now, pronouns are always used to avoid repetition, and so pronouns will replace nouns. So the demonstrative pronoun is going to replace the se, set, and say, and the noun that it modifies. Often, these demonstrative pronouns are translated in English as like the one or the ones. And the four forms are celui, ce, celle, and cell. We might remember this from last year. We often learn these demonstrative pronouns when we learn the interrogative lequel. So we can use these in a few different ways. If you say celui-ci, celui-là, or any of the other forms of celui, for example, you can use that form in order to distinguish between two people or two choices of objects or groups. So the example, we're seeing that there's two children, this one here and that one there. I know the sisters, this one here and that one there. In order to use celui-ci and celui-là, we have to know what we're referring to ahead of time. You could never just start a sentence with celui-ci if we don't already know what we're talking about. If we have de, then it lets us know that we're saying like the one of or from or belonging to someone or something. So in this following example sentence, we have ce and then de apostrophe. And we're saying that we're comparing it, the young people of today, with those from 30 years ago. So the ce, de means those ones that are from. Okay. You can also use celui de as a way to convey the idea of possession. So in English, if you want to say that someone owns something or something belongs to someone, whose pencil is that? It's Joe's. We can write Joe apostrophe S, but in French you cannot do that. So you would have to say celui de Joe. And we can have the relative pronouns like que, qui, and dont follow celui. Now we went over these in chapter 6, so you can always review those notes if you have forgotten what these mean and how to use them. And there you have it. If you have any questions about these verbs or the demonstrative pronouns, don't hesitate to ask in class. A bientôt.